Rejected by your parents, then by the system, and now rejected by a city you try to protect.
I never said I was rejected by my city.
Rejected by city.
Unfortunately for him, he was rejected by a lot more than just his city. In fact, when Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods hit the box office, it was rejected by, well, pretty much everyone. Some of that may have to do with the quality of the movie itself, but the truth is, on its way to theaters, Shazam 2 faced an assortment of obstacles and antagonists that may have simply been too much for any superhero to defeat.
It's all in a day's work.
Right. Well, how do you feel about being dubbed the Philadelphia Fiasco?
But while we're calling on the wisdom of Solomon, why not take a moment to subscribe to the Nerdstalgic channel? The first Shazam movie told the story of an orphan, Billy Batson, played by Asher Angel. Billy is given an array of fantastic superpowers by a magic wizard, and to access those powers and become an adult superhero played by Zachary Levi, all Billy has to do is say the wizard's name, Shazam.
Are you for real? Say it, okay? So just say it? Like, Shazam?
In his superhero persona, Billy does battle with the evil Dr. Sivana, and along the way he becomes part of a found family at a group home. By the end of the movie, Billy's new brothers and sisters also acquire the powers of Shazam, and it is only by working together that they can save the day. Colorful, comedic, and family-oriented, the film was a breath of fresh air when compared to most of DC's other than recent offerings, which tended to be darker, grittier, or just generally more self-serious. Perhaps for that reason, Shazam was a modest hit. Embraced by critics and audiences alike, a sequel was announced and the future looked bright.
And then everybody got superpowers, but now everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and I'm the only one trying to keep everybody together.
But even magic lightning doesn't always strike twice. And when Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods arrived in theaters in 2023, it was DOA. The movie made a mere $30 million in its opening weekend and a 47% drop from the roughly $54 million the first film made. And while audiences' scores were even higher than they were for the first film, ultimately Shazam 2 would finish its run as the third biggest bomb in DC movie history, behind only Wonder Woman 1984 and The Suicide Squad, both of which, it's worth noting, were available on streaming services opening day due to being released during the pandemic. So, what happened? Well, for starters, Shazam 2 wasn't really that good.
I'm an idiot. I don't deserve these powers, if I'm being honest. Like, what am I even contributing?
Despite the first movie's post-credits sequence teasing a team-up between Sivana and Mr. Mind, a traditional Shazam enemy from the golden age of comic books, the sequel instead found the titular character and his family squaring off with newly invented characters called the Daughters of Atlas. But while the casting was certainly impressive, the sisters themselves were pretty stock-feeling. At the same time, the movie also brought back Billy's entire family, or Shazamly, as they're called. With so many characters to service, the story couldn't help but feel unfocused, especially when compared to the far tighter storytelling of the original. Even worse, Billy, who should arguably be the focus, kind of gets lost in his own movie. The sequel was also noted for the jarring difference between the childish Shazam delivered by Levi and the more mature tone of Angel's Billy. The two actors never really felt like they were playing the same character, which is a big problem because that's pretty much the defining quality of Shazam. It was an oft-cited issue with the original film that the sequel only seemed to exacerbate, and with Levi being given the lion's share of the screen time, his exaggerated performance arguably grew a little annoying over the course of the film.
Okay, I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down. Quiet! Okay. You don't know what you've done.
But also, since the release of the first Shazam, Zack Snyder, once the chief creative architect behind the DC Cinematic Universe, and Walter Hamada, the WB executive that oversaw the DC films, were both shown the door and replaced with Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn and producer Peter Safran. The two quickly made plans to reboot most of the DC movie line, but despite Safran being one of the producers of Shazam, that character didn't appear to be a part of their new vision. That vision was announced just about a month before Shazam 2 hit theaters, and it gave the impression that the sequel didn't really matter. Not helping was an unenthusiastic marketing campaign that led more than a few conspiracy theorists to speculate Gunn and Safran intentionally set the movie up to fail. And while that's unlikely, there were definitely signs that someone at Warner Brothers didn't really believe in the project. For example, many have pointed out that shortly before the film's release, an uncredited appearance by Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman in the closing minutes of the movie was spoiled by an unofficial trailer. Ruining the movie's biggest surprise to get Gadot's face into the marketing materials strongly suggests the studio was worried the public wouldn't otherwise be interested.
Hey, Hey, just because your father's power is surging through me, that doesn't technically make us related,
Stick to saving the world, kid.
But Gunn, Safran, and the general public weren't the only ones uninterested in Shazam 2, because right along with them was Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson. Way back in 2014, director Peter Segal approached Johnson about playing Shazam in a movie, where he squared off against his most famous antagonist, Black Adam. Johnson decided he was more interested in playing the villain, and given his celebrity, Warner Brothers eventually decided to give Black Adam his own movie, where he would appear as an anti-hero rather than a full-on bad guy. Johnson initially promised fans that his Black Adam would eventually fight Shazam, and his likeness was even used for a brief moment in the first movie where the Wizard conjures Black Adam's image. But when Black Adam hit theaters in 2022, Shazam was nowhere in sight. The movie did feature an appearance by the Justice Society, but plans for Shazam to appear in Black Adam's post-credit scene, or for some of the Justice Society heroes to appear in one of Shazam 2's post-credit scenes, were apparently personally vetoed by Johnson, who steadfastly refused to allow Black Adam or anyone from his supporting cast to interact with Shazam.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
It was a decision that confused fans and didn't really do either franchise any favors. Black Adam bombed at the box office, and shortly thereafter, Johnson confirmed that he would not be a part of Gunn and Safran's DC Universe moving forward.
You should really be more careful with your word choice next time.
While Shazam does have other marquee enemies like Savannah and Mr. Mind, Black Adam has, over the decades, become the hero's archenemy. The Daughters of Atlas just don't come with the same built-in dramatic significance. Without Black Adam, the franchise had to save Mr. Mind for a potential third part, which left them without a compelling villain, and the movie definitely suffered for it. With absolutely no excitement behind the release, audiences stayed home.
We started off real strong, right? Right up top, all that cohesiveness, energy, terrific. Sorry, coach. Gotta fly IRL. No, I'm not done with the presentation.
For his part, Levi blamed the advertising campaign, pointing out that the movie is clearly a family film, but wasn't marketed as such, and there may be something to that, but he also blamed, to some extent or another, hate campaigns carried out by fans of Zack Snyder. And while some of those fans have certainly been hostile to DC's post-Snyder output, even Levi didn't seem certain there were enough of them to really make a difference. It probably wasn't intentional, because ultimately, it's always better for a movie to make money than not, but it does feel like Shazam 2 was set up to fail. Right from the start, the sequel was a creative compromise. It was the best Shazam 2 they could make without being able to use or even build towards a showdown with Shazam's greatest enemy. And by the time the movie arrived, it was the relic of a previous studio regime, an orphan, rejected by the system that was supposed to take care of it, just like Billy Batson. Only this orphan never stood a chance. So what do you think? Did you see Shazam Fury of the Gods? And if so, did you like it? Let us know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely find others you like if you check out the rest of the channel. As always, thank you for subscribing to Nerdstalgic.